Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the show. I'm Eric Wech, your host, and this is Younger Man's Game, a podcast dedicated to exploring what it means to live life on your feet, on your terms, and to the fullest. This show will follow along with my exploits, namely my upcoming attempt to thru hike the Pacific Crest Trail, a nearly 2,700-mile footpath that connects the U.S. Mexico border with the U.S. Canada border, and along the way ranges over some of the most scenic, remote, and rugged terrain in the three westernmost states of California, Oregon, and Washington. This is episode 13, the Tramily reunion. And in this episode, I'm going to spend some time talking with folks that I hiked with in 2024 in my first thru hike attempt. Those folks were part of what is called a Tramily, and I suppose that is worth a little bit of explanation up front. Tramily is short for trail family, and as the name would imply, it's the group of people you end up usually meeting along the way. Sometimes you can start with some of them, but you either start with or meet along the way and hike with on long distance thru hikes. Because you spend so much time walking, day in and day out, mile after mile on these trails, you end up having a lot of time to think, and if there are other people around, a lot of time to socialize. And what tends to happen is you form relationships with, groups of people, and you get quite close to them over the course of the hike. And just like a real family, all those bonds can come with all of the wonderful stuff that happens in a regular family and all the drama and craziness as well. It's kind of just a miniature version of real life. In this case, a miniature version of family life. I'm really excited to welcome these guys to the show. The people I'll be interviewing today are going to be broken into two segments because of technological issues that forced me to interview them individually. The first person I'll interview individually, and then the second three it will form a group, kind of a group video chat. The first person, I'm going to introduce all these people. I'm going to give you their name and their trail name and where they're from, and then we'll get into it. So the first person I'll be talking to is named Grant. He doesn't officially have a trail name. He was given a trail name after I got off trail. I'm not sure what it is. We're going to talk to him about it. But he said he doesn't really think that one stuck, so maybe he doesn't have one. He is from Florida, and this is the person who with whom I will actually be making my 26th attempt. Where actually our application dates are linked, and we're going to be starting on the same day coming up here soon. The second three folks are all European. They're joining us from the Czech Republic and from Germany, respectively. The gentleman in the Czech Republic is named Michael. His trail name is Google. And the two German guys are Julius, a.k.a. Flip Flop, and Lucas, a.k.a. Pretzel. So, without any further preamble, let's get started with the interviews and talking to Grant, whose trail name we're going to find out. Recording. Okay, hey, Grant, welcome to the show, man.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. And of course, I wanted to get you onto a split screen with the other guys from the Tramily today, but we had some technological difficulties, so you get the one-on-one.
Yeah, missed them.
You're in the hot seat. You can't. There's no getting out of it. So what I want to start with is basically like your what I'm calling like your PCT origin story, because everybody I feel like comes to this experience from a different path. And the first question I have is just when do you recall in your life was the first time you even heard the word Pacific Crest Trail, or you learned about it at all?
So the first time, so for long distance hiking in general, just as a kid, we went skiing and stuff a lot in the Appalachians in North Carolina. So I, had heard about the Appalachian Trail and stuff quite a bit just from living in the area, but I never really had the draw to want to do it. Just living in the Southeast, I know how wet it is, how humid it is.
Right.
It honestly just seems like a miserable trail. So in 2022, we went to Washington on vacation and went to Mount Rainier and Olympic National Park and everything. And I loved Washington. It was my favorite place I had ever been at the time. And we stayed right near Snoqualmie Pass in a little town called Packwood. And the PCT actually runs, I think, about 3 or 4 miles outside of Packwood.
Yeah, Packwood's
And
it's a trail town in that section, right?
yeah, right near White's Pass as well, in that same general area. But did a lot of, day hikes and just family hikes and stuff through Washington, and loved it. And I kind of found out about the PCT then, and my goal was
I'm sorry,
basically to
what
hike
year
it.
was this?
This was 2022, about two
Okay, so
years
pretty
before
recently.
the
Okay,
first hike. Yeah.
Yep. All right.
So, like I said, the goal when I started the PCT, I started doing a little bit of research on it, and basically decided I wanted to hike it to make it back to Washington, just because I enjoyed Washington so much. And that was kind of how I got started on it.
Very cool. And so you said you hadn't done a lot of long distance hiking in the Appalachians or anywhere else beforehand. What was your longest hike before you started?
Honestly, leading up to it, like I had done like, like camping at campsites and stuff like that, and day hikes back and forth, to camp, but nothing really I would even consider long distance hiking, just family hikes, 2 and 3 miles here and there. But
Okay.
growing up, I had camped a good bit and stuff like that. So I was fairly familiar with the camping, but not so much carrying everything on your back and through hiking aspect of it.
Sure. Okay. So as you were getting ready for it and training for it and preparing for it, all that stuff, what was one thing, if there is one thing that comes to mind, that you spent like probably either like the most of your time or too much time or just a lot of time thinking or obsessing about in advance, like that you in your mind it was going to be like a really big deal that you thought about it like before you got out to the start.
I would say one thing, I think everybody stresses about is gear.
Right.
You read online a lot of stuff, and seems online everybody's obsessed with ultralight, and trying to buy everything ultralight's quite expensive. So going into the hike, I had some gear that I had an older backpack that I had really never seen anybody mention or even you know ever talk about. So I was a little worried about just how my gear would hold up, how my base weight would be, and things like that. But I had no gear issues, to be honest. There was a couple things I got rid of, along the way, and some of them I shouldn't have got rid of, like my stove. Um, that cost me when we got to the Sierras. I think it was just too hard to get calories in without having a stove. Just trying to eat burritos all day wasn't working.
Right.
But and then I was a little bit worried about the physical aspect of it. But I think now I'm still a little worried about that. But I think you just honestly just go for it. Most of the training is going to come on trail. Like it's impossible to hike 20 miles a day with elevation gain and loss leading up to it unless you literally just have tons of free time.
Right. And you like
But
already basically live on the trail.
yeah, exactly. Like in Florida, to find elevation, I mean, it's impossible. So unless I go to the gym and get on a stair climber or something like that, I'm on flat ground.
Yeah.
But and that was a bit of an issue. The first 2 weeks last time were pretty brutal for me. I remember waking up on like night 2 or 3, and I could barely stand up to piss. Like I literally had to roll over on my stomach and push myself up.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking, like, how in the world am I going to hike 20 miles in the morning? Like I can barely stand up. But you get used to it, honestly. After about 2 weeks, I would say, you know, you're
Yeah.
still going to be tired at the end of the day, but the recovery becomes much better. When you wake up, you feel refreshed and ready to go. So,
Yeah, no,
um,
I think there's
yeah,
a lot to that. I mean, the whole notion of like getting your trail legs and like look, the fact is your body adapts to anything you're doing. That's just it's a pretty brilliant machine in that way. And yeah, I mean, unless barring injury, like you just kind of all everything just kind of does what it needs to do and kind
yeah,
of gets you down the trail.
yeah. Honestly, that was one of the more fascinating parts of the trail for me was just your body's ability to adapt. I mean, for me,
Yeah,
coming from flat ground to altitude, you know, I work a decently physical job, but outside of work, I was pretty sedentary. I didn't work out or I'm not a runner or anything like that. But like I said, within 2 weeks or so, your body adapts to the walking, the diet, the
yeah,
temperature changes, the altitude changes, and so that was pretty impressive for me. Like the first night we got into the Sierras, we can't. Well, maybe the second night we camped at Chicken Spring Lake, which I think was around 10,500 feet or so, and it was my first time ever sleeping or spending extended times at altitude. And I remember being able to you could hear my lungs, my heart, everything. And
yeah.
so I thought like maybe I was getting altitude sickness or something. I mean, literally just laying there, I could hear my heart beating. And so when I woke up, I asked Lucas, like, hey man, like last night, could you hear your heart? And he's like, yes, my body sounded like an orchestra. And I was like, okay, like, thank God it wasn't just me because
Yeah.
but within a night or two, all of that kind of goes away. You get used to the elevation, and it's impressive how you adapt.
Yep. No, couldn't agree more. All right. So moving on to the actual hike itself, because I've got some questions that are specific to you, and these are based on like we just the background that I'll give people is that we both attempted solo hikes starting in 24, and we
Mhm.
started on the same day out of Cleef at the southern terminus, and we kind of ended up in the same trail family, but
Yeah.
we ended up in the same trail family as two people who were starting individually, and that's an interesting, that's a different experience than, let's say, starting linked up with a partner you're hiking with. Like
Yeah.
we are attempting 26 together, linked up on the same start date. That's going to
Hmm.
be, psychologically, it's a different experience. And then the extreme version of that, which is like Michael and his girlfriend at the time, Marquetta, like they were linked
Yeah.
on their start date, and they were like sharing a tent. Like this was like, so like
Yeah.
they literally couldn't. There was no like, no, oh, I want to keep walking. You stay here for the night. It's like that's not happening. And like, so that's the extreme opposite version. But you and I both started this hike on like it's like I just got my stuff. It's a solo hike. I'll see who I see, kind of
Yeah.
a vibe. And so I'm interested to know, what was your did you take the shuttle from the airport to get to the campground?
Yeah. I took the PCT shuttle
So
the day before we started, actually, and then started fresh the next morning.
how many people that would be at that campsite were on that shuttle riding over there? Like, was it crowded, or was it just pretty, just you and a few other people?
I would say on our shuttle was about 10 people, and that starting date was still fairly early in the season, so I would say
Yeah,
that was probably a pretty decent portion of the people that were starting that day, minus
yeah,
the ones that had came in on the earlier shuttle. So when we
right.
got there, there were already a couple of you guys there that had came in earlier.
What did you start meeting those folks on the shuttle, or did you guys start talking more when you got to the campsite?
Yeah, some people were with others that they were hiking the trail
Yeah,
with, so they kind of
yeah,
kept to themselves. But us that were solo or starting to converse and talk about the trail.
yeah,
Like
totally.
actually, Luke was on the shuttle with me, and
Oh my
he was one
God,
of the
Luke,
first people I talked to. Yeah,
my honorary nephew, Luke.
yep. And then,
We got.
did you meet Bert, the very tall German? Did you ever get to meet him?
Yeah, the giant, Burnt the Giant.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
giant. So
what was
he was
his trail
also
name?
on
Was
my
like
shuttle.
Bear or something, right?
Yeah, yeah, Bear
He was
Burnt, or his
massive. He
name
was
was
a
Burnt.
massive, his giant dude.
Yeah, he was. So he was on my shuttle, and then Luke, and then there was a couple other couples and things like that. But those two were the main two I started talking with.
Okay, so when you got to Cleef, what were your first thoughts when you walked up to it?
Uh, Man, it's a lot of emotions. You're nervous. Are you prepared enough? Did you forget anything? You're excited to be starting. Um, you're questioning, was it the right decision? Do you want to be out there for 6 months? It's a huge commitment time wise and financially. I had to quit my job well, actually, the last time I didn't quit my job. I went back to the same job. This time I quit. But so it's a lot of things. But mostly excitement, man. Just meeting the people
Right.
you're going to be hiking around or with for the next couple months if you're lucky. And
Yeah,
so I would say definitely mostly excitement.
I think that was very similar to what I experienced. And one thing I noticed about the crew that was at that campsite is they were already like, everybody was already just like sitting around a fire pit and just like
Yeah.
just having, like, it was like they had known each other for years. And I wonder if that's a typical experience. Like, I'm interested to see what happens in 2 weeks, right? Like, is it going to be
Yeah.
I imagine like you walk in, everyone just has like a phone and they're all looking at, nobody's talking, like, but I don't think so. I think like my
Well,
theory here is that it's just like like we just group up as people, like, instinctively in these situations, because everybody knows they're like about to undertake this huge thing that has all this inherent like risk to it, and like it's this big unknown and experience, and so like we kind of seek out one another as humans, without even really thinking about it. That's my theory, and I'll be interested to see if that's what happens when we get to Cleef this time.
yeah, and I think it's one of those things. I think you mentioned it in an episode prior, but like it's a very easy group to fit in with, right? You already have something in common to talk with. You're both hiking the trail, or you're hiking the trail, so you have a shared experience that you can immediately, kind of start conversing about, and it just makes meeting people out there pretty easy. And I also think being in a group provides a sense of comfort. For a lot of people that haven't done any long distance hiking or aren't comfortable camping or filtering water and are out there for the first time, it's comfortable to have people who are experiencing it for the first time with you, or maybe
Yeah.
somebody that actually knows what they're doing that can help you out a little bit. So
Yeah.
I think the community is what makes it. I mean, that's what everybody says, and it's true. If you had to hike, I know some people do keep to themselves and are loners and hike it themselves, and hike your own hike. But I find it much more appealing to hike with people. It just makes the experiences better.
Yeah, I think I would fall into that camp too, and I think like you said, the idea of you already have something in common with these people. One, like if you're hiking Nobo, you also have in common that like you're probably gonna fall into that category of people who are a little bit more social because it's the more commonly like when
Yeah,
people like I don't know about you, but when I was learning about which way to hike this trail, the first thing it says is like if you want to go with like groups of people, go northbound, and if you want to
yeah.
go solo, go southbound because it's like it's just cold and snowy in Washington early, and you got to run through the desert in full heat in the summer. So it's a much more like solitary experience. So yeah, I think it probably self selects for that group a little more. Um, but I think I'm with you on that. I think I prefer hiking with other people than I do. I mean, I don't know. I guess like there's times it goes and it comes and goes, right? Like there's some days when you're out there and it just kind of like it's just nice to just like have your earbuds in or just kind of zone out and listen to the birds or whatever and just like spend a day, meditating in a walk and then like yeah, other
Yeah.
times like doing that
Well,
but also engaging with other people.
well, yeah. I mean, I think a lot of people have the misconception, like when you say you're hiking with somebody, like they think you're side by side, shoulder to shoulder the entire trail, and like that's just never the case.
Right.
Like,
No.
you know, to try and keep a pace that isn't your pace all day, or stop when someone has to poop and you don't, or stop when somebody has to. So, I would say more so hiking with somebody just involves meeting up at lunch, in the morning, maybe
Right.
discussing where we're going to meet for dinner.
Yeah.
Everybody kind of meets up at dinner and shares the evening meal and then goes to sleep. So you do still get quite a bit of solitude if you want it. I mean, you're pretty much by yourself hiking all day long,
Right.
just meeting people at the common stops, whether it be water or campsites.
100%. 100%. Yeah, and that's another thing I think that like that's one of those. I have this whole like comprehensive theory of distance hiking as a kind of perfect metaphor for life in all these ways. And like one area that I love, the one thing aspect of distance hiking that I love is exactly what you talked about. This idea of like you can like hike and walk around with people, but not necessarily be right next to them. And like it's this experience of like crossing paths, coming into and out of one another's daily lives, and then everyone's sort of moving toward the same destination, and ultimately for their own reasons. But there are times when it is good that we all socialize and are together in this experience. And
Yeah.
that to me is like it feels a lot like just life in general, honestly. Like, and I think there are lessons to be gleaned from the experience, in that respect.
Yeah, and I would say Tramley's, another thing is like when you get to town,
Oh yeah, of course, party time.
getting to, go have a couple drinks with the people, or and even for, financially and logistically, like having several people to split a hotel room with or an
Yep.
Airbnb with, or if you're solo and you're having to foot every hotel just for yourself, it's going to be quite a bit more expensive. And like I said, I just enjoyed the camaraderie in town. I come from a pretty small town in Florida. My high school was probably 99% Americans. We didn't have foreign exchanges. So like meeting the Germans and just
Right.
learning about them and how they grew up in their lives, and meeting Michael from Czech Republic, and talking to him about his experiences. And then we
Yeah.
met a
Yeah.
lady named Julie from France, and so you
Right.
meet people from all over the world, which where I grew up, I didn't get that opportunity. So it was nice to just meet people, to be honest.
Yeah. So you and I both we have another thing in common is that we both neither of us walked across the border into Canada on our last attempt. I
Yeah.
had to get off trail at Hikertown, and I think you got off in the Sierras, right?
Yeah, I made it to the base of Whitney and turned around.
So tell me about your thoughts. Like, did you know that was? Did you know you were gonna bail ahead of time, or was it like a revelation one morning you woke up and you're just like, screw this, I'm out of here?
Well, to be honest, I had been sweating the snow pretty
Yeah.
much the whole trail because like you said, when we were out there, it seemed every Saturday for the first month we got snowed on.
Yeah, snowed
And
in.
so
Yeah.
I knew that the snowpack was going to probably be lingering pretty late into the season. And being from Florida, honestly, I just don't have much experience in the snow and still don't. So it was kind of in the back of my mind the whole time. And then when we got into the Sierras, to be honest, I just struggled a bit. I think the combination of altitude plus increased pack weight with the bear can and crampons and the ice axe and then we decided to carry 8 days of food, which I don't want to say was a mistake because a lot of them made it, but for me it was a mistake. Um, the extra added weight of the food, and then my
All
own
the other
fault for
gear.
not
Yeah.
doing it, but I just didn't ration my diet well. So we were about I think 6 days into the 8 day stretch, and I was out of dinners. Like all I had was like snacks and garbage left,
Hmm.
and I was already struggling big time with the altitude.
Right.
I was eating a lot much more than I did previously, and I think that was just because of the energy expenditure in the snow coupled with the altitude. And I just went through my food way too fast. And we woke up pretty early to try and go up Whitney for the sunrise. And I mean, upon waking up, I already knew like I am not recovered. I didn't sleep well. Only got 3 or 4 hours of sleep, and so we started it out, and I was already pretty tired and dragging. And when we got to there's a lake right at the base of Whitney called Guitar Lake, and there was water running all under the snow. Um, it was hard to decipher even where to go. Like I didn't want to fall through the snow and into the water, and you could just hear it running everywhere. So we started trying to walk around it on rocks, but all the rocks had ice on top of them, so we're
Right.
slipping all over the rocks. And I just, it wasn't for me. I told him, and Travis was with us, and he also was like, "Hey, man, this is pretty sketchy." And I was like, "Yeah, I agree. Not for me." So we backed out and went back to the campsite. And at that time, I still was intending on hiking. So, but we got back to the campsite and talked to some people, and they said Forester going forward, and then even Kearsarge Pass was worse than Forester, and was pretty snowed under. And honestly, it defeated me. The
Okay.
mental state of being worried about the snow, sliding all around and post holing all day. It was difficult. So
All right.
that's honestly, everything held up good. No injuries, no gear, just
Just the
mentally
snow. The
beat.
snow. Yeah, the
Yeah,
altitude and the snow got you. Well, I got good news for you on that front, my friend, because I
yeah.
don't know if you've noticed, but
Should
not a lot
be
of snow happening right
yeah,
now anywhere. So we'll have the
yeah.
opposite problem.
Well, like I told you last time, I think even if it were snowy this time, this is a hard thing to do, right? You got to
Yeah.
set aside 6 months. You got to save up financially, depending on how much you spend on the trail. But I would say anywhere probably 7,500
Sure.
or
Yeah.
more just to for gear and the trail and everything. So like I realize this is maybe not the last hoorah, but certainly the last hoorah for a good while. And so it's Canada or bust this time.
All right, man. Well, that I think that actually is the perfect note to end this on. Canada or bust. I'm with you 100%. I appreciate you stopping by and chatting, and I cannot wait
Yeah.
to see you in person when we're both on that, because we're both you're there a day ahead of me, I think. So I'll probably see you at the campsite
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
we're not
We'll
going to
meet
the same
at Queef
shuttle,
for sure.
but I'm excited, man. I can't wait. I'll see you soon, my friend. Okay, this next segment is a four-way split. I'm going to welcome three of the European folks who were part of my trail family in 2024. Please welcome Flip Flop, Pretzel, and Google. 3, 2, 1, go. Hey, welcome, guys. Welcome to the podcast.
Hello, glad to be here.
All right, so awesome. I'm so glad to have you all on. First of all, it's great to see you all again. I haven't seen any of you, I think, since the last time I saw any of you would have been like either the trail or I think like a month afterwards. I saw. I know, Julius, you rolled through Bend while I was up there. But it's great to see you all again. So basically, our questions are going to be there's a few rounds of questions. The first round is origin stories, and basically this is how your PCT legend came to be in existence. And these questions will be asked individually. So let's start with you, Google. Let me ask you this first. First things first. How did you learn about the PCT?
I saw the movie Wild, so I think most of the people who do the PCT watch that movie, and yeah, it kind of started brewing in my head, that idea that we might one day maybe do that.
And how long was it from watching that film to the hike? How long was that span?
A couple of years, I think.
Yeah.
So it was a well, me and my now ex-girlfriend, we went to New Zealand, and our plan was to make some money there and then actually do the PCT. So have 2 years off.
What were you doing in New Zealand to make money? What was that about? This sounds shady.
It's not shady. It's backpacking life. You just you go there, you buy a van you live in, and then you work in orchards or some people do work in hospitality, but we mostly worked in orchards. Picking fruit, taking care of the plants, and all of that. So
that's amazing. I had no idea that was an option.
Yeah,
That's so cool. So you were doing that for like a year?
A year and a half, almost. Yeah.
Incredible. What about
basically we also? Yeah, go on.
Oh no, go ahead.
No, we you work and travel there, so we also saw a whole of New Zealand. Oh.
That is incredible. I'm gonna kick it down to you guys, Flip Flop and Pretzel. What how did you each of you first hear about this trail?
Well, it was more like a thing of Julius, like Flip Flop, because it was more like a joke first. So we were going to vacations like a couple years ago as well, and then we had like the thought, okay, what is our next plan? What are we going to do? And so we were like just talking about, and then Flip Flop said, yeah, there's some kind of hike. So maybe we can do this.
So it was Flip Flop, it was your idea.
Yeah, I know exactly the location. It was like in a small pizzeria somewhere in Jena. It's like a small town in what is it, Thüringen in English?
Thuringia.
It's like in a small
Germany.
District in Germany.
Okay.
And I was sitting right in front of Lucas, and we were talking about different locations. I was like, yeah, I have another idea there. And the idea came from the movie Wild 2. I watched it like when I was 14 or 13 years old. And I was like, yeah, it's 6 months. We finish our degree, and then we have 6 months. And I was like, Lucas, I have a small idea. Maybe we can do that. And I think I talked to him like half an hour about the trail, and he was like completely locked in. He was like, yeah.
That's great.
I would do
I
that
love
too.
that.
I mean, at first I thought it's a joke. It was like 6 months just hiking. That sounds like not doable. And then we were like thinking about it, talking about it, went to a restaurant, eat some pizza and stuff, and we're talking about it with iPad and stuff, and like looking up for the trail. And then we said, okay, now do the application. And then yeah, we have the application. Yeah. And afterwards, then we were like thinking, okay, now the application was free, so we can cancel as well. But then we said, okay, now book some flights, so we have to do it.
Right.
And that was the point where we said, okay, fuck it, let's do it.
Huh. When you went to sign up for the application, did you just happen to be at the right time of the year, or did you have to wait for it?
We had to wait for like 3 months or something.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah,
They only release those
like,
permits like twice a year or like on 2 different days.
Yeah.
I think it was in the summer where we had the idea, and then like in the late summer we did our application, and then we had to wait like until January. Right. Oh no, there was the first period like in November or something.
Yeah, there's November. I think November and January are the 2 different dates.
Yeah.
So you guys got your permits on November.
I think we were pretty lucky, and we got the good starting day at the first.
Yeah, I think everyone that year thought they were
day.
lucky with starting on late March. We all thought that was a good
Yeah.
idea, and we
It
were
was
wrong.
horrible.
We were not. We were not lucky. We were not lucky at all. Turns out. But Google, what about you? So, let me ask you this: what was this your first like long distance hike, or had you done like a big backpacking trip before this? I mean, I know you said you traveled around New Zealand a bit.
Yeah, like long distance, if you talk about, PCT or AT or something like that, I never done anything like that before, but, couple of shorter ones. I think the longest one was like 100 miles
Okay.
in Scotland. And yeah, otherwise, like some day hikes or, multiple day, but not this long.
Yeah. And
it
let me
was-
ask. Let me follow that up with this.
Everything was new.
Was there anything? Was there a single thing that stands out in your mind as you were getting ready for this hike that you thought about or obsessed about more than anything else? Whether it turned out to be something that was worth obsessing about or not, like was there something on your mind that you really felt like you had to get right or prepare for before you started?
I think I was like most afraid if my body will hold together,
Sure.
and like, if something happens, maybe like, because like, from I don't know, from when I was a teen, I had issues with my knee, and I kind of worried it might get worse, but luckily it never did.
Oh, you're lagging out on us a little
Like
bit here.
that was like,
You guys still with us?
Yeah, still here.
Okay. All right. Well, I've got a freeze frame of Michael up there. I don't know if you guys can see that, but he's kind of.
He's moving.
All right. He's moving in the. Well, this is the joy of technology.
Right.
It's all. Give me 1 second here, guys. Okay. Michael, you still there?
Yes, I am.
Okay, you're back. Sorry, you froze up for like a second, but you're back. Okay. Awesome. Same question for you two. And I'm sorry, I'm asking you guys questions as a pair. You feel free to answer in whatever order you want. But Pretzel and Flip Flop, what about the trip in the run up to it was like on your mind? What did you think about more than anything else? Was it like a conditioning thing? Was it a food thing? Like what did you think about more than anything?
Well, for me, it's actually was the rattlesnake. It
Oh.
was like I was super afraid of it. Is Flip Flop gone?
Yeah, we lost Flip Flop. Flip Flop. Probably a connection issue. Anyway, go on.
No, so I think that's like was the most thing I was afraid of, like the rattlesnakes in the desert section. But something like food or something, we were like super chilled at first about it. We had way too much, like everyone at the beginning.
Yeah.
And I mean, we're not prepared at all. Like Julius, like Flip Flop, like I didn't even know if he knew how his tent was like to set up. He was
Really
super new. Yeah.
Wait a minute. Hold on. Flip Flop. Is that true? You didn't know how to set up your tent? Okay. Well, we're back after a fun little technological blip. And then you dropped a bomb on us that apparently Flip Flop did not know how to set up his tent as of the start of the hike. And I have to stop there because Flip Flop, is that true?
Yeah, that's pretty true. And it was like, I think
what did you think? Did you just buy it like the day before?
No.
No, Lucas was buying it and was like, Jules, that's a pretty good tent. And I was like, okay, then I get it too.
Cool. Yeah, I love it. I love it. Just send it. We'll figure it out. We'll do it live. Did you have any? I don't remember. Like I feel like I did. I think we all camped together like the first day. I don't remember you having any. There was nothing obvious that showed like somebody not being able to set up their tent. You figured it out pretty quickly.
Yeah, when we were in Campo, what was the name from this ranch there?
The Cleef.
Yeah, Cleef. So we saw all your tents, and then we took our tents out of our bag and was like, "Ah, shit, we have to set it up right now." And for me, it was like, okay, now I have my stakes here, and do I have to do it like this or this? And Jules as well. And there was like this kind of wind coming from the side. It was like kind of nasty to set it up in the wind because I did it at home with nothing about wind or sun or something else.
Right.
So it was
yeah.
like a kind of weird situation first, and we were both like, is that right or wrong?
Could you look at other people's tents and be like, that looks right? Is this how do we make it look like that guy's tent?
Actually, yes.
That's amazing. Okay, let me ask you this. For either of you two, Pretzel and Flip Flop, like, was this your first long hike, or what was the longest hike you had taken before this?
So I did with my family when I was like 14 years old. I walked through the Alps. Like was like a 6 or 7 day trip.
Okay.
But it was like you slept in huts, so you don't took a tent or anything. You just walked from hut to hut, and I think it was 6 or 7 days. That was like the most thing I did, which is like a through hike or something. But I think it's
Okay.
like 80 kilometers, maybe 100. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, same for me. So there was no hiking with tents before. It was just like go hike and sleep in some huts or something. But
And those are like
this-
the summit huts, right? In the Alps.
exactly.
I wish we had
Some
those.
of them are open in winter too.
Oh yeah, I wish we had those in the States. Don't they have like? Correct me if my American ignorance is showing, but I've always understood that they have like hot cocoa and stuff in there. Is that true?
Yeah, they have.
That's incredible.
There was
They have
beer
like
and stuff.
a kitchen and everything.
Yeah, you
That's
can
right.
eat like hot food.
It's not like a hut, like a small hut. It's a regular, big ass hotel basically.
Wow. And how do you have to like reserve it, or do you just wander in?
Yeah, you have to reserve like half a year before because it's like
Okay.
super crowdy nowadays because of Instagram and stuff.
Sure.
But
Okay.
some of them are like safe huts when they are like I think over 2,300 or something like that. Then they have to give you an accommodation even if they are full, and then you're sleeping like in the dining room or under the toilet or something. So they are not allowed to send you away.
So standard PCT lodging is what I'm hearing.
Yeah,
Yeah, sleeping
but with
next to the toilet,
like,
packed into
hot
the
food. and
shower.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Okay. Well, let's talk about the hike itself. And I'll just kind of bounce around here through these. Let's start Google with you. So tell me what your favorite section of the trail is, or was, I should say.
It was the Sierras because, as you already said yourself in today's episode, you love them, and
Yeah.
I do love them as well because, we don't have such mountains here, and it was something completely different to me. I mean, like here, I mean in Czech Republic, because we do have some smaller mountains, but not
Yeah.
this big. And yeah, like all of
Yeah.
the nature in the Sierras is just amazing. The lakes, and I mean even the river crossings, some of which were sketchy as hell. I mean, I did enjoy it after all.
Okay.
So,
And
yeah,
did
so
you
it was the
when
Sierras.
when you went through the Sierras, did you stop anywhere, or did you go straight through? Like, did you stop at VVR or MTR or any of those places?
You mean straight through? We didn't go to VVR because I'm not even sure if it was open at that point, and the JMT hut was still closed, as far as I can recall. So yeah, we only went, town to town always, and then back up to the mountains.
Okay. I'm gonna go down to you guys, Flip Flop and Pretzel. We talked about during the sort of background of this. This Flip Flop, this hike was your idea. What was your immediate reaction to that, Pretzel? Like when he brought this up, was it just like, okay, let's go, or Was there any part of you that was like, wait a minute, what do we?
Like, of course, in the first moment, I was like, dude, that's a joke. Like, I will never hike for like 6 months,
Right.
2,500 miles. I will never do it. But then, I don't know why, but for us, it's like if someone has like a really stupid idea, somehow we're gonna do this.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter like what it is. So, so we talked about it. We're thinking about it. Had some other ideas and plans, but the PCT was like always there, and we always discussed about it.
Okay.
And in the end, I was like, okay, let's fuck it, let's do it.
So let me ask you this, Flip Flop. What as to the hike itself? What would you say is the thing that most matched what you expected it to be, and what was the thing that least matched what you expected it to be about being on trail?
Oh wow, that's a hard question because like I didn't know how to build up my tent.
So you
didn't
no
even
expectations.
know
Yeah.
so much
would-
so much about the trail. I didn't even know the Forester Pass existed. Just to put that in perspective.
This is awesome.
What matched my? I think the idea of that this will be one of the best adventures I will ever do, or some of the best. That was like my hope I will get with that adventure, and it was true. And the negative part of this, okay, it's maybe a little bit hard answer, but I thought it will be a little bit harder.
Bro.
Like physically?
No, for me, like mentally.
Mentally, okay.
Physically, it was pretty hard at so many stages. I was like, so often that I was like, I cannot go any further. But for my mind, it was like, I thought never about quitting. Not even one time.
Well, let me ask. Oh, that's a great segue because you guys have an experience that I'm very interested in exploring, which is that the two of you started the hike together. Only one of you walked into Canada. So, Pretzel, tell us about where and when you left the trail and what was going through your mind at that time.
So, I left the trail right at Mount Whitney.
Okay.
So I climbed Mount Whitney, and like the days before, I was already like, I don't know if it's the right thing for me. I don't enjoy hiking anymore. It was more like a job, which is not fun anymore.
Sure.
And so I was struggling with myself, like mentally. But I always said to me, never quit on a bad day. So for me, it was like I climbed Mount Whitney, and I was so happy at the summit. But then I told myself, I'm still not like I enjoy it like not that much as I should be. So I told myself on the summit, okay, I'm going home and I'm gonna quit right now, because now I have like 2 months, like a super experience with an happy ending, so I can go home with no doubts.
That's great. And when did you tell Flip Flop? Was it at that moment? You were just like, or had you talked about this already?
So we talked about this a lot actually before. So yeah, he was like saying, yeah, if you want to go, just go home. And we also like talked before the whole PCT experience, like when we were in Germany. If someone wants to go home, he can go home. If the other one wants to stay, he can stay. So we're like two different people, so
Sure.
we can do like the thing what I want, what he wants to do. So
That's great that you were able to set those expectations in advance, just for precisely the reason that you ended up running into. It sounds like, did you hike out at Whitney Portal then?
no, I went down Whitney again and walked back to what was his name? Like the portal before.
The next pass, like south,
Did you
basically.
go
Yeah.
down?
Like I
Go
went.
down to Independence. maybe.
I think it is Independence. It was
And
like the
right now,
first.
anyone who is not already aware will understand why the gentleman in the top right corner is nicknamed Google, because he just looked up the pass while we were all sitting here, being like, "What
I
pass was
did
it?" And
not.
you didn't.
No.
Okay.
I did not, but I
Oh, okay. You just have that information because that's because
remembered.
you're Google.
Yes.
That's yeah. Okay.
But I
All right.
think it might have been Kearsarge Pass.
I think
Yeah,
there's
I
like
think
a
that's right.
lake. There's a lake. I can
Did you
Google
go
it.
over any passes north to get out? Because Kearsarge, you got to go over
I
Glen
went
Pass.
south again.
No, he went
I went
south.
south. Yeah, I went south again. I went to Lone Pine. Then there was the portal. How was it called?
I think it was Kearsarge Pass.
No. Kearsarge was like north.
Kearsarge
from
is
Whitney.
the next entrance to the north. You got to go over Glen Pass to get to it.
Yeah, and they came
Oh yeah.
like we went from south to
Right.
north to Mount Whitney, and
Yeah.
they went back. So I backtracked
Okay.
like for a day.
So you had like one more day on trail. What was your
Yeah.
what were you thinking about on that day? Were you bummed out? Were you relieved? Like what were your thoughts?
Well, actually, I was quite happy to leave.
You're like, yes, I'm going home.
I mean, you're laughing right now, but actually, it was like really like that. I had like
Yeah.
listened to some music. I was happy. It was a sunny day. Met other people again. Told
That's
them about
great.
my experience, and I want to leave. So and they were all like, "I do it. Come back maybe in some years later, but if you want to leave, leave."
Yeah, that's like what a
So it
great
was
way
totally
to
fine.
tie it up and put a bow on it, and you're not like walking away from the experience feeling this like sense of unfinished whatever. It's just like you made the call and you did it.
Of course, yeah. I mean, afterwards, when I went back to Germany and had like my daily life, went to work and stuff, it was, of course, kind of hard to see Flip Flop still going further, having like super experiences, and that he met new people, went to the PCT days and stuff like that. But of course, then I remembered, okay, how I felt on the last days on the
Yeah.
PCT, and then I was always okay. It was the right decision. So
Looking back on it now, are you comfortable with where you left it?
yes, but I'm still hungry to see the sections I miss. So
Would you
like,
would you do that as like would you section hike it? Would you start at Whitney and go north?
uh, actually, yes, I'm still looking with my dad because he wants to do the John Mayer Trail before he was like not able to do it anymore.
Yeah.
So we are actually looking to get um, the permission to go there.
All right. Well, listen, we'll be passing through in June, so just get your plane tickets. And
I mean, I think it's kind of hard to get the permit for the John Mayer Trail. I think that's like
there's a
lottery
secret. There is. Well, it's not. It's just there's a set number of permits that they give out. And it's a very small number ahead of time. So it's kind of like the PCT. You have to get your permit way in advance, and you have to get a time. It's like the same thing. However, unless they've changed it, what they used to do is they used to reserve like 10 or something like per day that they assign only the day before, but you have to do it in person at the ranger station closest to wherever you want to start. And it's extremely hard to do a Nobo because you have to go to Whitney, and that's a very crowded station. But in Yosemite, I did this one year. You can actually just, if you just go camp in the backpackers campsite, which I think is still free, you get up before dawn and you just get in line at the ranger station. And if you're one of the first 10 people, you get a permit and off you go. And if you don't, you just stay in the backpackers campsite and then do it again tomorrow. Like you just keep doing it until it works. Like, unless they may have changed that. The last time I did that was like 15 years ago. So who knows?
I mean, for you it's easier to do than for the
without having
like living in Germany.
Right? Yeah, to take a plane to a different continent. Now, Flip Flop. So from the other side of this experience, you had spent these 2 months very close, hiking every day, sharing all these experiences. This wasn't a surprise necessarily because he had been talking about it. But talk to me about your thoughts and emotions when your buddy like had to get off trail.
Yeah, it was pretty rough. So like we talked about like I don't know like 3 weeks before, like maybe 4 weeks in advance. Like Lucas was sharing his thoughts and his worries all about it's not that fun anymore, and he's not enjoying it like he should do for like a thing he's committing to.
Right.
And yeah, it was totally not easy for me. It was like I was also like, can I do it alone? Can I possibly do it alone? Do I meet new friends? Can I do all the challenges alone? It was all like things which got to my head, and on the other part, I will miss like my best friend on trail.
Right. Of
It's
course.
like it was like I was committing the trail also because I could do it with Lucas, and then I had to change my mind to okay, now I have to do a good adventure without him, which isn't totally easy, which is not the thing I was like signing up for, but
Right.
that's how life is doing. It was pretty rough. And then on the day, he was like, it was for me. It was also a little bit spontaneous because we got down from Whitney, and then there was like, okay, now we have the chance to go out, and they did it, and I was like, okay, now is the day. And I was like, yeah. And then we had to go further, and then we were so surprised, and I couldn't think about it.
Right.
It was like a bit crazy.
So it did ultimately kind of take you by a little bit of surprise, it sounded like, even though you kind of thought it might be coming.
But I think because I was like, I don't want this to be happened. So my brain was like pushing to the side that this is
of course.
an option. And
Of
I think
course.
because we're talking so much about it, and it wasn't spontaneous, but I think my brain was like putting it in some back corner of my brain.
Once you then were like moving on and in the days and weeks that followed, what was the adjustment like? Did it feel like, how long did it take before you just sort of just felt like, okay, I'm just like walking this solo now, or did it ever did it take on that character?
Not really, because I not really did it solo, because like I met the two girls.
Right, we had like the
Which I
Tramily. This was a pretty tight little group that stayed together for pretty much the whole way up.
And I hiked with this group, so with the two girls, and then Luke in Washington. We hiked the whole other section together. So I jumped from the group with Lucas, and Lucas left out, and I walked with the same group further to the Sierras. So I wasn't
Right,
really, I didn't spend one night alone.
So life took a Lucas and it gave you a Luke.
Bad trade.
Yeah, a Luke and two girls.
All right, let's
good trade.
Yeah. Okay. I have. Let's see. Let me get back to my questions here. This is very fascinating to me. Like the idea of partially because this will be the first time I'm attempting a through hiking trail with a partner. Obviously, Grant, who is not in this video room, but will be on this episode. We're gonna be linking our start dates. Whereas last time when I met all of you, I had just gone solo, and I'm fascinated by the difference between the two. Between having this experience from just like the point of view of a person who's just wandering around and you meet who you meet, and then as compared to someone who is doing the same thing, but also like in some way your journey is linked to this other person, at least during the time that you're doing it. Okay, so I'm going to ask this question for each of you, and I just want to know. I'm going to start with you, Google. If you tomorrow we're going to start this trail again, and it's just like you're like, okay, we're doing it again. What's one thing you'd want to do differently?
That's a very hard question, because I think it would basically all of it would be different to me, because I hiked it with someone before, and now I would be on my own, right? So I think everything would be completely different.
Fair.
So yeah, it's kind of hard to answer.
Okay. So
But
can you isolate like your experience? So for you, you're saying because you would be doing it solo as opposed to doing it as a partner, it would be such a different experience that it's hard to distill and isolate down to one thing that you would change.
Yeah, I think it is very hard, because like you always plan with that person, like you don't go ahead and tell them, yeah,
Right.
okay, we will meet in 2 days somewhere. You don't do that. So I
Right,
think
now for you,
everything would be way different.
to give a little background, now you hiked the trail with like your girlfriend at the time, and you two hiked
Yes.
the entire way together.
Yes, exactly.
So for what you mean about like not going 2 days ahead, like you didn't really have the option to be like, okay, I'll see you in the next town. You guys were like step for step.
Yeah, yes, exactly. I had no option to skip ahead without her, because
What did that feel like
we shared
during
the tent.
During that, exactly, yeah. If you either walk together or you're going to be very cold tonight. What was your experience of like interacting with other hikers who were either hiking solo or hiking in sort of more loosely affiliated groups like Flip Flop and Pretzel, as compared to your experience? Did you notice it? Was it something that you observed and had any thoughts about while you were on trail?
Well, I think it would be the best to compare it either to you or maybe to Luke, because like Luke, he could basically do anything he wanted, but he
Right.
still. So I think we always, well, I mean, not always. We were, because you guys basically hiked together, and we usually were a bit ahead because we were like, you guys sometimes took time or stayed in town a bit longer, but like we always, I couldn't say, yeah, I can stay here in town for a bit longer. I just, yeah, I think that's the one thing I think I would change, that I would maybe socialize even more than I did.
Okay, that's it. Yeah. So because you weren't like distinctly and tied to one social relationship, you would explore more social relationships within like the group.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That makes sense. I mean, it is one of the things that fascinates me about the concept of the trail family in general is just the fact that it exists, right? I mean, we all started this trail, and every year, hundreds, thousands of people around the world start these trails, and some of them are alone, and some of them are with one person or groups of people. But like, they always do the same thing. They always kind of cluster up, and it's like this. It's like this perfect little repeatable experiment of human nature, where we're just like, we realize that like when we're out fending for ourselves, that like actually it's a much better experience, and ultimately, like I think that goes back to like if you want to talk about like way back in ancestry or history, like it's a safety thing. Like it's just better to be in numbers, right? Like it's just like, and like we just always do it. We always like clump up into these groups, and it's like a fascinating dynamic. I love it. Okay, so let me go down to you, Flip Flop. Give me one thing you learned on the trail.
One thing I learned
But yeah, okay. One thing other than how to set up your tent that you learned on the trail.
I have a good one besides my tent. I learned that there are good people outside in the world. Because like when you listen to the media, when you look around you and you see, for my opinion, a lot of people I'm not want to be familiar with. On the trail, there were so many nice people, just like 95% nice people, and not even the people who hike the trail, the people who make the trail so much better, like the trail angels and all the nice people who let us drive their cars, or like gave us food or gave us an accommodation for free. It's like, yeah, I just won the belief in the good in the people. It was like that was I think the thing I learned the most about the trail.
That is what a great lesson. That's wonderful. Okay, Pretzel, over to you, man. Let me ask you this: what was your favorite side quest?
My favorite side quest.
Yeah, what non-trail thing did you do that you found the most gratifying or fun or interesting?
I think drinking beer with you guys, like trying all these different kinds of beers.
That's a very German answer, by the way. Well done.
Yeah,
I'm trying a lot of different kinds of beers.
I think also like the challenge we did in the Mojave Desert.
God.
Oh, talk to me about that. What did you do?
We did the 24 challenge.
Okay, well, explain that for somebody who's never heard it.
So you have to walk 24 miles in 24 hours and drink 24 beers.
Okay.
So it was actually a pretty nice and funny side quest until I went to bed and woke up in the next morning because my hangover was so horrible.
Yeah.
I was like, I woke up, went out of tent, was puking, and was totally done. And I still had to go 6 more miles
Ooh.
when there's like the wind was horrible at that day. It was like
Was where on the trail did you all do that challenge?
in the Mojave Desert where the wind park is.
The aqueduct,
At
like
the
the flat part.
The aqueduct,
Yeah,
yeah,
the
exactly. Yeah.
Okay, yeah,
exactly.
that's a place where that people frequently do that. So, okay, now you said you had 6 more miles to go. So your strategy was tell me what your strategy. What was your plan to get through this? Because that's a lot of beer to drink while you're hiking that many miles.
So we started at the evening because we like decided in the group that we gonna hike through the night. So until I don't think it was like 4 a.m. or something, we went to bed. And so the plan was to drink that much beer as we can.
Mm-hmm.
So I ended up at like 18 or something. And so I had like 6 more left for the next day. And I thought like 6 miles, 6 beers, like perfect, every my 1 beer. But I couldn't.
Oh, you didn't do it. You didn't finish it.
Like I did the miles, I did the hours, but I didn't finish the beer because like I
No.
couldn't even drink water. So and like hiking without drinking water and like get
Yeah,
some
in the
food
desert,
in the stomach
not-
was like
not-
not possible.
yeah. Okay. So you did the 24 miles in 24 hours, but you only made it to 18 beers, you said?
Yeah.
What kind of beers
So
were they?
I think was it the course? I think it was
Course.
the name.
I think it was Modelo.
Oh yeah, it was
Oh,
Modelo.
Modelo.
Yeah, you're
Okay.
right.
All
Modelo,
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was
Did
like
you guys
just,
did all 3 of you do this?
just flip flop on me.
Okay.
Yeah,
So,
I think at that point we split up from the group because like they wanted. I think you guys even wanted to go to a city which I do not recall. I think
Lancaster.
you went there actually.
I think
Yeah,
it was
you went to
Lancaster.
Lancaster, right? Yeah. And
Okay. So you guys you weren't even
I
on
think we were like a
at the
day
aqueduct at
ahead
the same
of them
time.
at that point.
Okay. Flip flop. Did you finish?
No, I don't know. I think I was at 20 beers and then I went to sleep. I wasn't feeling that bad in the morning. But I remember we did the 6 miles. It was like so windy, and then I was setting up my tent. I was sitting outside. It was like 4 beers, and everybody was going to bed. Like, sitting there alone with my 4 beers. I was like, I can't drink the 4 beers now alone.
Right.
I mean, you could have to.
You could. I mean, you can. You can do whatever. You're a human being with free will. You can do whatever you want. But it's it's probably.
I mean, a real German guy would have done it.
Oh, shots fired.
Yeah, that's
All right.
pretty sure. And it was not my best moment. It was like,
I mean,
had
says
to
the
talk
German
to
guy
all
with
my
6
friends
beers
with
in
me.
his pack. I feel like he had at least got 2 more down.
Yeah,
if,
man.
if we're keeping
I mean-
score.
I even left the beer on trail to give them like people behind us, and I met I don't know who it was like a couple of days later someone and talked to him and he was like, yeah, I found some beer on trail, and I was like, yeah, that was mine from that failing challenge.
Everybody
Challenge,
listen here and like judging a little bit. Please do it. Drink 24 beers, drink 24 hours, and hike 24 miles. I thought, yeah, we could do it easily. It's not
It
that
sounds easier than it is. Yeah,
easy.
yeah.
You have to carry 24 beers.
Right.
Yeah, that's
For
the
a
worst
day.
part, man.
I mean, we were lucky, so we could split up the beer all over the groups, so like all the people. So we like had just to carry like 10 beers of that 24, but still it was like 4 more kilograms. Or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah, that's not. Yeah, that's a lot of extra weight to carry.
So
Well-
that's why we try to drink it fast, so that we like lose weight. Actually,
Right. I think it sounds, if I'm understanding from your experiences, the key is to finish the whole thing before you go to sleep, because once you wake up, you're not going to want to have any beers.
yeah, I would recommend that definitely.
All right. Last question. When's the next trail? Where are we going?
I guess it's New Zealand, right?
Aotearoa, yeah.
Small one. So yeah, I will hike in Slovakia maybe with Lucas together in Slovakia.
Okay. Is that this year?
Like, yeah, that's a plan.
This summer.
Like in July, I guess. Like July,
Yeah.
August.
All right. Now, again, excuse my American ignorance. Isn't that right next to you, Google? Slovakia? Isn't that like one country over from?
We used to be one country actually, so it is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. So it sounds like you need to just hop on a train and go join them.
Yeah, might as well. Why not?
It's
I
how is it
actually
called in English?
never.
High Chatra?
Yeah. Huh?
Is it the High Chatra?
Yes, it
Yeah.
is. And I've never been there, so might as well.
There you
And
go.
You can,
All right.
you can join actually.
This sounds like a plan. We'll have to get.
We
We'll have to.
can figure it out.
All right, we'll do it.
I
We'll
mean,
do
you
another
can-
another reunion episode after you guys all do that hike, and I can hear about the time that you actually do finish the beers.
It's a quite different because the 24 beers in the US is 24 small beers.
Yeah, like 12-ounce
I mean-
beers.
Don't tell them.
Right. No. Well, we know that, right? Like we're aware that our cans. That's why, like, if you go to a restaurant here, they always have like the 22-ounce beers. Like, we're getting there. We're slowly getting there.
That's good.
Yeah.
But
it's,
actually, like I was more like excited from your challenge, Bigfoot, when you ate like the 30 McDoubles.
the McDoubles. Yeah, the McDouble challenge. By the way, I'm not doing that again. That's not definitely not.
Why?
Why? What do you mean why, dude? Because I want to I want to live, man. I don't know. So the challenge he's referencing is the McDouble challenge. I think I've referenced this before on the show, but basically it's the challenge. It's not like clearly defined. It's just like how far can you walk only eating McDonald's McDouble cheeseburgers. And I walked from Cajon Pass to Agua Dulce on just McDoubles, and there was 30 of them, and I think it took me like 6 days. And if I remember correctly, it's like 110 miles or something like that.
Wow.
And I mean, the one thing I will say for them, look, I'm not advocating anybody eat McDonald's like ever, but the one thing I will say for those burgers is burger number 30, aside from the fact that it was smushed into a funny looking little ball and it was ice cold, tasted exactly the same as burger number 1 6 days later. So, shout out to McDonald's preservative game. They've really got whatever kind of like insect tissue that they're rendering into burger patties. They're really doing a good job preserving it,
Oh man.
But I'm definitely not doing that again. 100%. This is like I'm just stopping in Wrightwood. But honestly, like that was half the reason I did that. I did it because it was funny, but I also did it because like
It was.
at that time you guys were I think a day or two ahead of me, and you had just gone down to Wrightwood, and I had heard how gnarly the trail getting down to Wrightwood was. There was so much snow up there that it was like kind of a pain in the ass to get down to the town, and I was just like sitting at that McDonald's and be like, do I feel like messing with that? And I was like, nah. I'm just gonna load up on these cheeseburgers and go. It was a survival strategy more than anything. All right, guys. Well, I want to thank you all so much for taking the time. I want to hear all about the Slovakian adventure, and I can't wait to see you all again. Hopefully, we'll get a chance to hike again soon.
Thank you for the invitation.
Yeah.
All right,
Good
guys.
luck
Hope
for
you
your
will
trip.
enjoy your adventure.
Absolutely. All right, we'll talk soon. Well, there you have it, folks. The Tramily reunion. I hope you learned a little something about what it means to be part of a trail family and how much fun all that is. And I hope you had a good time hanging out with me and the people I interviewed. This is, of course, episode 13, and starting next week, the updates will change a little bit because they're going to be filmed from the PCT on trail episodes that I'm hoping to post weekly. I can't wait to see you all out there down the trail. And until then, I'm Eric Wech, and this is Younger Man's Game.